Hello again. I've just had a little bit of anxiety lately, so I've been recording to try to calm myself down. I'm planning on talking to my therapist about my borderline symptoms and trying to get like an actual diagnosis. And I'm really nervous because the last time I did so, I was met with just so much stigma. Like, it was pretty clear this person just did not want to have to deal with a borderline patient. I was shut down so quickly. I didn't really get a chance to explain myself. I'm hoping my new therapist is going to be a little more open-minded and will listen to me because, as I've said, I've done extensive research and I fit 8 of the 9 criteria. And I know that it is hard to get a diagnosis because professionals don't want to give it out. Professionals don't want to deal with people who have BPD because we're seen as unrecoverable or just treatment resistant. But it's not true. Recovery through therapy is not just possible, it's highly likely. So I don't understand why there's so much stigma around it. So anyways, I wanted to talk about the quiet borderline type in this video. This is the type that I really relate to the most. I don't tend to outwardly rage at things. I keep my feelings bottled up. I do have breaking points though where the bottled up rage will come out and just kind of in an explosive mess. But for the most part, it's bottled up inside me. I have an intense fear of abandonment, and if I think I'm about to be abandoned, I'm gonna have like a breakdown, crying mess, and it's gonna be a lot of drama. I'm sensitive to the slightest change in your tone or your body posture or facial expression, and if I'm perceiving anger, I'm going to become extremely anxious. And you may not be angry at all. You may be in a totally neutral pose or speaking in a neutral voice, and I may be totally misreading the situation, which is very likely with this disorder. But I can't help it. I'm going to get anxious, and if that anxiety is not relieved, it's going to bubble up inside me and come out as either a tearful fit or a bout of just defensive rage. And those are both like messy cleanups. My last therapist said that I could not be borderline because I did not have a consistent pattern of cutting people out of my life. What she doesn't know about is the consistent splitting I've done since elementary school, swearing never to talk to friends again because they're not paying enough attention to me, feeling ignored and swearing, we'll never be friends again. But of course my moods being borderline are very unstable, and so eventually I calm down and, nobody even notices the splitting that happens. I'm so good at keeping everything inside. And I think that that's my problem, is that I'm just too high functioning. She can't see me as borderline because I can maintain relationships. I can even maintain stable friendships even if the inside of me is stormy and full of emotions. I can keep the relationship calm between friends. Romantic relationships get a little more difficult because they're more intimate. I I become very, very dependent and even more hypersensitive than I already am. So dating me is a very difficult task. Between the crying fits and the bouts of rage, you know, you've got your hands full. And you can ask my partner, they know this very well. The dissociative symptoms are also something I experience during times of extreme distress, usually when faced with the possibility of a breakup, or sometimes during periods of just bad depression, or since I'm also bipolar, if I get into a mixed affective state, they'll just be both so distressing that I'll dissociate and depersonalize, kind of as a coping mechanism to deal with the stress. So really, the reality of being borderline for me is just having an emotional storm constantly going on inside of me, with mood swings and extremes and black and white thinking, hypersensitivity. It can often take longer for me to return to a baseline emotion just because of the extremes I tend to feel. It's either hot or cold and not much in between. And I think the quiet borderlines, the ones who are able to slip under the radar because they're not outwardly just so aggressive towards other people, or maybe aggressive isn't the right word, but just angry, showing their instability on the outside rather than keeping it contained on the inside. Like, I've learned how to put on a mask and to appear calm, but there is always an emotional storm going on inside of me. It's always something happening. And I think us quiet borderlines just go unnoticed and under the radar far too often, and we're probably some of the most at risk because of it. And so here's to the quiet borderlines out there. I hope that you're able to find the treatment you need. I hope I'm able to find the treatment I need. And I hope you're not met with the same kind of stigma I was, because that's really hard. That's why I had to switch therapists. I suddenly had so many trust issues that it wasn't working anymore. A wall had gone up. I couldn't break it down. I guess you could say I split, and I couldn't unsplit. So anyways, thank you for taking the time to watch. Talking about it really does help me to kind of calm down and collect my thoughts before I see my therapist to talk about it, because I'm so nervous. The very nature of my disorder is being afraid of rejection, and I don't want to be met with the same stigma that I was the last time. So, wish me luck, and I'll let y'all know how it goes.